Hello, my fellow chatterers and book lovers. And anyone else who's popped in because you're curious about what this is, or you have got a bit lost. Welcome everyone, I'm Chatty, this is my channel Chatty the Mad Chatter, and I'm going to be chatting away madly to you about a variety of things really. I'm going to be starting off updating you on the Read What You Own challenge, then I'm going to kind of move on to what my book buying goals and plans are. And I'm going to be talking about the books I'm excited about and which ones I have decided to possibly pre-order, and just contemplating a few things. So first things first, if you are new to my channel, you will not know, but I don't edit my videos. This is just one long continuous shot. So chaos can happen. The phone is my camera. It tends to fall over. I waffle. A whole lot can happen. So cheers everyone. Welcome in the chaos. Clink, 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 clink. So I hope you have a nice hot cup of tea. I have just reheated mine because I realised actually I didn't have all the notes I needed. So I just took a few more notes before I did the video, and so many that my tea went cold. So it's now nicely heated. So I hope you've got a good brew. And I'm not sure when this is going out, but it is currently still Christmas time here. And so the tinsel is happening. I'm still celebrating Christmas. It's all good. We could have reached the Epiphany by the time this comes. I don't know. Good tea. Right, let's start at the very beginning with my Read What You Own challenge update. So if you are not sure what the Read What You Own challenge is, I will provide a link here to Criminonlly's video. It's a challenge created by Criminonlly. I think this is the third year that he's done it, inviting you to read the books off your shelf. I think a lot of people are enjoying reading their physical TBR and kind of being encouraged to do that, and not buying books until we hit a certain number. So my number was 30. Pardon me. Oh no, I've written here 35. Okay, so it wasn't 30. So I really wanted to be able to make good use of the sales around Christmas time. So I really wanted to get as far along as possible, ideally between 30 and 40 books, so I could have 3 or 4. So every time I read 10 books, I then put a book in the bank, and then I will have that many. So let's see how I'm doing. I officially started in September. So here we go. I have enjoyed doing a lot of doodling with this. So I have read Fool's Quest. That was my first book, and that takes me down to my physical TBR being 299. So I then read The Last Enchantment, Percy Jackson and the Last Olympian, The City of Nightmares, Blood Marked, and after I reached 5 books, I got to move a book over from a drawer because my last year I didn't do very well. So I bought a load of books before I should have bought books, and I haven't let myself earn them or touch them until I hit a certain amount of books. So I moved them. Once I've read 5 books, I'm allowed to move a book over to a drawer where I can earn that book. It's very complicated, but it's fun and works for me. So I've moved over Lila and the Blue Fox, so I can now earn Lila and the Blue Fox, which is exciting. I read The Witch's Brat, I read One Dark Window, I read Coraline, I read The Haunting of Evelyn Jones, I read The Conductors, and that gave me 10, so I've got to bank my first book, so I can definitely buy 1 book in the sales. And I put Nick Blake and the Remarkables into the drawer so I can earn that one. I then read Assassin's Fate, A Tangle of Spells, A Sky Beyond the Storm, Linden Falls, A Kind of Spark, which meant I could then put a Kata Woman in the drawer for me to earn, Blackwater Sister, Foxglove, Bear Town, taking me to 18. We then get to turn the page. And here we are. I have Storm of Sisters, The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea, which took me to 20 books. So I can put 2 books in my bank. I can buy 2 books so far. Then I read The Boy, the Mole, the Fox and the Hound. And then I read the animated story of that, bringing me to 207 books. I'm currently working on Hunger of the Gods, which is massive. So I'm hoping to then have that one there. So then I've just got 2 more books to hit 25. And I feel that's where I'm going to end up. I do not feel it's possible for me to read any more than that. So I might be able to squeeze these 2 smaller books in. I'm hopefully going to read... it's coming to me. It's gone. It's lost. It's left me. Castle of Tangled... No. Castle of Tangled Magic? It sounds too close to a Tangle of Spells. Possibly a Castle of Tangled Magic by Sophie Anderson. So it's a middle grade. And then I have a smaller book in mind as well to take me to 25. And then obviously I need to read a bit more before I get to 30 and then on to 40. So I think it is going to be in the January sales. Although yes, I set my target as 30 or 40. I'm going to allow myself to get 2 books in the sales. Because that's what I've banked. My challenge rules. It's all fine. So that's my plan. And then I want to continue over the rest of December and into January to get myself up to that 40. And then I'm going to allow myself to pre-order for the upcoming year because there's a lot of books coming out that I'm really excited about. So I am going to move on to talking about my book buying goals and thoughts and plans to help me with reining in the book buying. But before I do that, I have a few more books that I want to share with you. So let's have another drink of the tea. Okay, so when I was doing my December TBR, I got my Mad March Hare to give me, out of 20 books that I put out, 20 books I was interested in reading. There were some rereads that I wouldn't mind doing over the Christmas period, and some series to kind of catch up with, and other books that have been around a long time that I'm excited to read. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of like have Advent surprises. So each week in the build up to Christmas, I would then have a book that I would pick out. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of reveal these on camera. So I got 2 in my TBR game. I shared 2 during my December week 1 and 2 wrap up. So I thought I would share the next ones now because I don't know when I'm going to be doing my December wrap up yet. And I want to see what the books are. I want to see what the final books are that he picked. Because I might be reading them then I might choose them to read for the Read What You Own challenge and kind of like this filling in the last few bits. I just totally go rogue for my December TBR, I don't know. So let's get out the books. So I have, this feels like a hardback, which is exciting. This is a small paperback. And this is also a paperback in here. Okay, so let's go for this paperback. So in here, so Advent Book 3, which is the Book of Joy. Book of Joy. I have Big Hero 6. So Big Hero 6 by Haruki Ueno. Disney did a film of Big Hero 6, which is a comic of characters. So we have a robot called Baymax, and this is Hero, who is the protagonist. He loses his brother. His brother invented him, and him and his friend get superpowers to kind of defeat stuff. I really love Big Hero 6. I love that. I only know it from the Disney film, but I really loved it. And I saw that they had I never know if is it a graphic novel, is it a comic, is it, I don't know what they are called. But I saw this in World of Books and I thought this looks really cute. Me and my children really enjoyed watching the film. I thought this might be fun to collect these if I can. So we've got the pictures in here, and then we start off. Oh, we've got 4 chapters and then a special chapter, and then here we have the first page in this kind of graphic novel-esque style, which looks really, really fun. This is going to be a quick and easy book to read and help me with my it's going to come to me, Read What You Own challenge. So this is great. Probably will be sneaking that one into there. Okay, next one I'm going to go for the zippy bag. Ooh, Concrete Rose by Angie Thomas. So this is a prequel to The Hate You Give. I really love The Hate You Give. I've been wanting to read this for a long time. It kind of hasn't come up yet as the time for it. but this will also help with me finishing off some of my series. So if I read this, then I've read that kind of prequel and Hate You Give duology. I love Angie Thomas's writing. I've really enjoyed the 2 books I've read by her. I find her really gripping. So I'm excited for this one. I think he chose it because of the edges, because the blue sprayed edges match. So that's fun. Okay, final one. It's a hardback. It's a hardback, and so this is Frontier by Grace Curtis. I'm really excited for this book. I bought it when I went book shopping in Leeds in an independent bookshop called The Bookish Type, which was wonderful. It's an LGBTQ+ bookshop, and it was such a gorgeous little cozy place. I absolutely geeked out in there and probably scared everyone else in there, but I was so excited to be in this really cute little independent shop. And this was one of the books I chose. I'd never heard anything about it. I then since saw it kind of like all over Waterstones, which is very exciting. But what sold me is, one, it's got this wonderful purpley cover. I really wanted to read more sci-fi, and this seems like a sort of like a nice, easy sci-fi to kind of go in for. And I just love the tagline at the back: love, loss, and laser guns. And that kind of sold me on it, really. And then we get these beautiful end pages with all these purple. We have a stranger coming onto this planet looking for someone, and there's a sapphic romance. So yeah, very excited for this one as well. So there we go. These are all my... Oh, I stopped doing the Advent thing. So Concrete Rose is the 4th week of Advent. So that is the Book of Peace. That is hopeful, possibly ironic. And then Frontier with the Christmas book. So there we go. That's all my exciting surprise books. So I'm going to pop these on my shelf so I can see them, and if I feel so inclined to read them, I will pick them up. Okay, cool. That was lots of fun. Right. We're now going to move on to my book plans. So where are all my notes? Those are my pre-orders. My notes are here in this little notebook with extra notes stuffed in it. Wonderful. Okay, so my plans are... Am I going to talk about that first? Yes. No. We're sticking with... I'm just working out what I'm doing. Here we go. This is what I mean by the waffle. I mean, we're not professional here. That's not what happens. Book buying goals. These are my book buying goals. So my book buying goals, I thought it would be a good idea to set some goals because I'm very greedy. I'm very greedy. I get excited by books. I get excited by books coming out. I love being able to share what I find and gushing about books, and I get overexcited seeing new books and pretty books, and basically marketing works on me. Sprayed edges, the beautiful covers, the hype, it does work on me. So it's very dangerous. It's very dangerous, and I need to resist, and I need to get better at resisting. And I feel I have started on this path because I have now come clean with you all about my secret stash, whereas before it was so easy because I wasn't hauling everything. So like I was only hauling like what I was earning and what was gifted, whereas actually what I was buying was quite a bit more, but it went under the bed. So I was like, well, I'll just buy it now because then I've got it and then I don't need to worry about it, and then I won't buy for the next month. But then I'd see other books and be like, oh, but I just need them. I don't need them, I just want them. So I now need to make choices. I need to start being strict. I need to be more focused and sensible with my book buying choices, because there's no more room under the bed. There's not really room on my shelves. Technically I can Jenga it and I can squeeze more books in, but they do not look pretty when they're all squashed in. I like looking at my shelves and getting joy from seeing my book titles. I love having books facing out because the books are also my art as well as things I want to read. So I do really enjoy that. Just seeing people's bookshelves make me really happy, and I love seeing books ideally like this with spines vertical next to each other. like People in a Row, and having certain book covers facing out. That makes me really happy. I have had to do the horizontal stacking on top of each other to get more to fill in, but it does not fill me with joy when I see that. It makes me feel a little bit sad. So I need to be better with what's on my shelves. We have no current plans to be changing our shelf order anytime soon, so I need to be better with what I'm filling. So there's only space for the books that I really love in here. And I have very much made a distinction, more so over this year, with what books that I want to read and have an interest in reading, and what books I want for my personal library collection. It's very become clearer that I should only be buying the collection books, and I shouldn't be buying the read books, because, like I've just said, space is short. So I have got a bit better, but I want to make sure as much as I can that I'm only borrowing books that I want to read because I'm interested and it's fun to do a different genre or I try a different type of thing, but it's not necessarily something that I'm going to love and want on my shelves. So it is possibly very much time that I embraced the e-reader and got on board with all of that. But I don't have one, and I don't feel it's going to be on my agenda at the moment. So we're just going to have to focus more on the rules for book buying. I have improved with accessing books via audiobook, so that has been a great thing for me this year. I'm a lot happier to have audiobooks. I definitely know which ones work and which ones don't work for me, and that has been another way to kind of access books, because sometimes my library has them available on audiobook but doesn't have the physical copy, so that gives me a wider range of ways to consume stories and to access them. So my rules for the book buying are, number one, I'm going to keep going with what I've been doing with the Read What You Own challenge, where I have to read 10 books to bank a book that I can buy. So for every 10 books I read, I'm going to leave a little space, and that means I've got one book that I can buy in the future. I'm going to use the book grill. So this is a set of questions I've made up for myself to work out how much do I actually want this book. And I've scored it all and made a tally, so I'll go through that with you in a moment. I will allow myself, because I'm very excited about the books that are coming out this year. I have always been kind of like, especially with book series and with middle grade books, I have been sort of looking and researching like what new books are coming up. In my Discord, which is called Middle Grade Mad Chat, all about middle grade books, I like to kind of go through anticipated releases and kind of share books coming out with all the people in that Discord, and get excited for future middle grade reads. So I've been doing a lot of that on there. I'm just going to be talking about the ones that I'm most likely to buy. There are a lot of books I'm really excited about and would love to be able to access, but I don't necessarily think I need to own all of them. So I'm hoping my library has a lot more of those in. But I'm allowing myself 10 pre-orders. So probably going to work out 5 middle grade and 5 adult/YA. So that's what I'm going to allow myself when I've completed my 40 books. Then the rule number 4 is to consider the books that are under my bed when I'm looking at books by new authors or books that I haven't read from the author before, but I'm really interested in the book. Like the premise sounds really interesting and gripping and like it's my cup of tea. I need to kind of reflect on what's currently still hiding under my bed for me to earn. How long has that been there? Did I have those same feelings of excitement when I originally got that one, and yet I still haven't read that book? So the likelihood of me getting to read this one is also very, very small soon. So maybe it's not its time. So considering that. What was the next one? Okay, so yeah, as I continue to work on my physical TBR, which also includes all the books under my bed, I'm hoping that I then have less of a stash under my bed, that really goes down, so there's more of a turnover between me buying books and me earning those books, so the excitement level is high. So any kind of what I call wild cards, where I haven't read from that author before, and it's kind of, I haven't really heard anyone talking about it yet, I find that really exciting. I love being in that position, because you're not often in that position. You hear so many things from watching booktube, which I love, because then I hear about more books and get excited for them, and it also gives me a better judgment of whether or not I am going to like this one. But there is also something quite exciting about a wild card, where you don't really know anything about it, and you don't know what it's going to be like, because you've not heard anyone talking about it, so you have nothing to base it on apart from the fact that it's calling to you. So in terms of wild cards, I need to kind of not do those until I'm in more of a turning over more quickly the books I've earned, so that I'm still excited and can get to those wild cards. I also want to make sure it's so easy, especially around this time of year, when you get all of these anticipated release videos, and when you're following series and favourite authors, and they've got new things coming out, to just get distracted by all the new and shiny things, which I very much do. But I also have a load of books on my backlist that I'm excited for, that I'm still really interested in, that I think are going to be really, really good books, that I'll often neglect because the new books are coming out, or they've got pretty hardback covers and they've got sprayed edged editions, and that's really exciting. Whereas the poor older ones, they're in a paperback and they've just got plain edges. So I'm still excited by those stories, and I want to make sure I still get to read those stories, rather than going, yes, well, I'll get back to that one later because I know it's still there and I'll still be able to access this, but the shiny one, it won't have the edges for a while, so I must get the ones with the edges. It's what I'm trying to stop, because I'm a very simple person. Spray an edge on a book and I'll get excited by it. But no, that is not good enough anymore. The book needs to be more than edges, okay? This is how it is now. Okay, my next book rules are, I've also written something here about libraries. Oh yeah, so wild cards should now be accessed via the library. Hopefully my library will be really helpful and actually stock these books that I want to read. Often it does not, which causes this problem. So then, until I have less in my book stash, libraries is going to be my way of dealing with that situation, in theory. Number 5 is Fairyloot. So I love getting Fairyloot book boxes. I love the prettiness, because again, book art is beautiful to me, and I appreciate it, and it gives me a lot of joy. And being a Fairyloot subscriber, it means that you get access to fantasy books that are done beautifully. So for example, they will release a book in a book box and it looks very beautiful, looks very exciting, but you haven't got around to reading yet, and then suddenly the sequel's coming out and the sequel looks equally beautiful and exciting and you want that as well, but you haven't read the first one. That is now part of my rules. I am not allowed to buy the Fairyloot book unless I have read the first one first. That is my new rule. Because I have 2 books where I have the sequel and I haven't read the first one. They do look very, very pretty. But I need to stop that. So, for example, I have got Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, that everyone is who enjoys a YA fantasy is going wild about. It won the YA Fantasy for the Goodreads Choice Awards. I'm hearing lots of amazing things about it. Myself, Vadania and Cloe are going to be reading it in January, which I'm very excited about. I have read the first couple of chapters because I just wanted to check. I was like, do I think I'm going to like this? Do I feel that I need to push myself to see if I want the sequel? Yes, I do. Those first chapters, I was very, very gripped and intrigued and feel that I'm really going to love it, which is great. So plan is to read that in January so that I can then get the sequel should I want it. I also have the Stardust Thief, which I'm hopefully going to be buddy reading with Tallia from Bandana Book Mum, as well as Vadania and Cloe in February. So we'll be reading the Stardust Thief, and then I will hopefully then really, really love it and feel able to get the Ashfire King. Also, I will be allowed to get books that I've wanted for a long, long time. So I am collecting the Heartstopper books in the Fairyloot edition, and I love those and I read those, so that's perfectly allowed. However, I made myself not, so books that I was sort of interested in, I think I'm going to enjoy, I held back from getting the Pretty One because I'm like, I don't know for certain if I am going to enjoy them. Or I kind of already have a paperback copy and still haven't read it. So what I don't need, even though it's absolutely beautiful, it's gorgeous, gorgeous artwork, I don't need it, so I don't do it. Unless it's a book that I've wanted for a long, long time, whether I'm anticipating it or I have been wanting to find a beautiful copy of that book. So for example, Fairyloot are releasing The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I love The Starless Sea. I really, really enjoyed that book. When I read it, I borrowed it from the library, and it's on my list in the back of my mind. Like, I want to get a gorgeous copy of that for my shelf so that it matches the joy that I had of reading that book, because there were so many wonderful whimsy things within it that I loved. So that is allowed. I will hopefully be getting the Fairyloot Starless Sea. Number 6 for my book buying goals is to remember paperbacks are great. That's an important thing to consider. It's not really a goal, it's a point to remember and consider when I'm thinking about possibly buying a book. So I love hardback books. It's my favourite form of book because I love how it feels in my hands. I'm just going to demonstrate with oh dear, here we go. I'm going to demonstrate with Frontier, and my pile of cushions has just all fallen out from behind my back now. But I just love how Frontier feels in my hand. Like, one, I love the sound. It just feels really nice for me. I love how when you hold it open, it just feels weighty and kind of opens, and I love the snap when you shut it. It just feels nice to have something in hardback. I love a dust jacket, and just seeing like the colours on the spine. Like, we just have a little tortoise printed there. There's no tortoise on here, but under here there's a little golden tortoise. That's so cute. You also get end pages as well. On this one there happens to be a picture on, which makes me really happy. So I do love a hardback. Equally, paperbacks are lovely as well. This is a really nice paperback of the Concrete Rose. Again, we still have sprayed edges on paperbacks. Paperbacks will also look really nice. And it's still fine. It's still a very nice book. So paperbacks are great. I'm actually going to go... I'm going to talk about these more in a moment, but like, just for example, reminding myself paperbacks are great. The Felix Ever After, I was really wasn't really upset, but I did want to try and get Felix Ever After in hardback because I thought I was going to love that book, and I did. I do love Felix Ever After. I couldn't get it in hardback. It had already gone out of print of hardback, but the hardback did not have these beautiful floral edges that the paperback has. So I'm actually really glad that I have a paperback. And the same cover on the paperback as it was on the hardback. Sometimes they change the cover, and sometimes I don't like the paperback cover as much as I like the hardback one, which makes me feel sad. But in this case I do, and it was fine. So I need to remember that it can be okay with paperbacks. Also, surprisingly, I love my paperback of Legends and Lattes, which is problematic for me now because there isn't a paperback version in this cover. I'm going to have to work out doing some sort of like American Amazon version to get Bookshops and Bone Dust to match this cover because my small issues in life. But Waterstones have got a lovely Legends and Lattes. It's usually what would really more appeal to me, with being more symbolic than having character art on it. And the Fairyloot did a beautiful edition with this like holographic foil rainbow that I was so tempted by, but I was like, I have the paperback and I haven't read it yet. So well done me for resisting. But actually it's a really floppy paperback, and for the story it's just such a cozy, it's such a cozy fantasy. Actually the character art of this book, and the feeling that I can kind of crumple it a little bit and it's okay. I actually really like that for this book. I don't know why, it doesn't always make sense, but I just need to remind myself paperbacks are great as well. Right, that's fun tangents for everyone, but those are my rules. I hope you feel wonderfully lost and can barely remember what I was talking about as much as I will. I feel we have very much gone waffly waffles here. In a nutshell, my book buying goals are: read 10 books before buying one. Use the book grill, we'll come on to that. Only pre-order 10, don't go crazy. Consider, is this a similar feeling to books you've already got under your bed that you still haven't read? Maybe you shouldn't get it. Fairyloot, make sure you've read the first book before buying the second, or you've wanted it for a really long time. Consider that paperbacks are great. Okay, those are the book plans in place to kind of ring me in with my greediness. So, the book grill. To determine how much I actually want this book, or whether I am just being greedy, I have invented the book grill. It's not perfect. I feel there is work in progress to do this. I've run 2 books through it already to just test it out, and I feel it could work better. But what it did do was, even though it wasn't like foolproof and there were certain things where I'm like, well, actually that question I can kind of take it in 2 ways and I don't quite know which way to do it. Ultimately, it gave me a feel of the book and how much I wanted it, and like what I want from this book and what I'm hoping for from this book. So I actually found it really helpful. So this is the book grill. I have got 5 questions here. One's in like 2 parts, but it makes sense. And then I have a page over here where I apply this to the books, and I've got a point system depending how I answer it. So I get a total of how much I need this book. So I am doing this with 2 books. So I'm doing this with 2 books that I'm very interested in, that I've had sort of on my list for a while. One is The Snow Girl by Sophie Anderson, which is a middle grade Slavic fantasy folktale. I have read 2 books. I'm about to start my 3rd book from Sophie Anderson and absolutely love and adore her books. So I'm very excited. The other book is one I've been eyeing up. It's slightly more of a wild card for me. It's Yours from the Tower by Sally Nichols. It's not something I typically go for. It's a historical fiction done in epistle novels. I have enjoyed that form previously. It's got 3 women that are writing to each other, 3 different girls on different journeys, and it is all told through letters. So it's got female friendship, which is a buzzword. The cover does look very beautiful. It's black with the title in the middle, and around the outside in kind of gorgeous, lots of little different details. So you've got the picture of the 3 main characters, kind of like portrait profile, and then it's surrounded by other kind of like bits and pieces, like a fountain pen and like some paper and then florally bits, and it just looks really, really pretty. So those are the 2 books that I'm putting through the grill. So the first question I have is, can I access it from the library? So if I'm able to access it from the library, the purpose of me needing it on my shelves is less, because I could get hold of it. So if I can access it from the library, then this will score -5. Yes, for The Snow Girl, I know they have it stocked in the library. Yes, for Yours from the Tower, I have looked it up and they have a lot of copies of this book in my library. So currently both of them are on -5. Now, question 2 is, why do I desire it? And then I go through 6 different points. So why do I desire this book? Is it A, to support the author? B, I'm collecting the series? C, the cover is so pretty? D, it's a bargain and that makes me feel good? E, it's a book I want for my collection. I want to own it and have it on my shelf. F, it's a limited edition, so I probably won't get hold of this particular copy and I won't for long, so I need to get it now because edges. So going through all of those points. So the Snow Girl, is it because I want to support the author? I will always want to support authors. I definitely do, but Sophie Anderson, I feel, is quite established children's author now, so it's not a predominant reason, so not really. If I'd said yes, it would have been a -2, because as lovely as that intention is, it's not a good reason for buying the book. B, I'm collecting the series. Although I am collecting the books in terms of author, it's not a series. It's me wanting the author's work, so it's not really in that sense that I want to own the whole series and have the series collection and be like, here's my book series. So it's not quite that. And I've given myself a +2 points for answering yes, because reading series and having series together for me is one of my priorities. So that feels like a better reason for having a book, because I already have books in the series and I'm reading this series, so I need this book to continue with the series. So for the Snow Girl, no, it's not part of a series. Oh, Yours from the Tower. Again, I want to support authors, but I'm not particularly feeling like Sally Nichols isn't a debut author. She's not an author that's not well represented. So I don't feel we need to be telling publishers, yes, we want more books from this type of author. So that's a no for that one as well. And no, Yours from the Tower I think is a standalone. It's not part of a series that I'm collecting. The cover is so pretty. To both of them, yes, the covers look absolutely gorgeous. I've already explained what Yours from the Tower. I want to say Yours to You from the Tower. I don't know why I want to say that. Yours from the Tower, beautiful cover. The Snow Girl, also beautiful cover. It's like this lovely kind of dark purpley blue, with the Snow Girl in this kind of white and blue art style, and the title is in her skirt, and then you've got swirly snowflakey bits around it, and it looks gorgeous. Also in hardback, first Sophie Anderson to come out in hardback, usually it's paperback. So the cover is pretty, as much as it is, and I've already said for collection I want art. It's not the main reason for buying the book, so that gives me a -2 point. So both of them are yeses, so they are both now on -7. D, it's a bargain and feels good. The Snow Girl, there's no, I checked on Christmas Day evening, I looked at the sales in Waterstones. The Snow Girl, it was still full price, so no, it's not a bargain. Yours to You from the Tower, yes, half price for a hardback. That's very exciting, but is it the best reason for buying it just because it's a bargain? The answer to that is no, it's not the best reason, so that is also minus points. So Yours from the Tower is on -9. E, a book I want for my collection. Sophia, The Snow Girl, yes I do. I love the House of Chicken Legs, which I have here. This was an amazing book by Sophie Anderson. I also have The Girl Who Speaks Bear, also an amazing book. I am going to be reading The Castle of Tangled Magic, I think that's the title, and I'm very excited for it. So yes, I do want to be collecting all of Sophie Anderson's books, and so far they have been brilliant. So yes, I do want it for my physical collection library. So because I definitely want it for my collection, that is a +2 points, rather than I just want to read the story. So Sophie Anderson is now has gone back up to -5. Yours from the Tower, I'm interested in the story, but I don't know enough about whether or not I will love it. So I don't necessarily know if I want it for my collection or not. If I love it, then yes, I would want it for my collection. But if I don't, then no. So I don't know. So the answer for that one, I can't say yes for certain. So it's no. So I'm not getting the points for that one. So Yours from the Tower is still on -9. A limited edition sprayed edges. I've given myself +2 for this one, because, so this is why it's not perfect, because if it's between me choosing books and I equally like them and I'm excited about them, it does make more logical sense for, if it's got limited edition sprayed edges, to get that one while another one hasn't, because I can still get another copy of this one and it'll be the same. So for this instance, but if all I'm excited about and drawing me into the book is the sprayed edges, then no, that's not a good reason for getting the book. So it's kind of like with the idea that this is an added reason for it. But then I haven't done that with the bargain one, so it's a little bit, doesn't quite make sense all the time. Anyway, for whatever reason, I chose to give this one +2 points. It's not a limited edition. There is no Sophie Anderson's hardback. It's going to be hardback for a while, and the same for Yours from the Tower. So neither of them have got points for that one. Okay, so that's all of the Why Do I Desire the book. So lumping them all together, those ones I've just done, it kind of links into question 3 on the book grill. Question 3 is, would I read it on an e-reader to access the story and not putting on a shelf, if it was an option? So for example, if it was like a free on an e-reader, would I just read it on there, or would I want to wait and have it in a physical book copy? Oh no, sorry, question 4 links in with that one. Okay, so question 3 is different. So for the Snow Girl, would I read it if it was on an e-reader? No, I wouldn't read it if it was on an e-reader. Why have I put -5? Because I've just realised. So this is me, again, not foolproof. For some reason oh yes, okay, cool, great. So if it's yes, I would read it if it was on an e-reader, then that would be -5, because I'm then not necessarily needing the physical book. So for the Snow Girl, I'm not putting those points in, because I wouldn't want to read it on an e-reader, because I know I definitely want it on my shelf and I want to read a physical copy of it for that enjoyment of it. But Yours from the Tower, if it was on an e-reader, I would read it because I want to find out if I like it or not. So that means Sophie Anderson is still on -5, but Yours from the Tower gets a further -5, because I would read it on an e-reader rather than a physical book, because it's more about accessing the story necessarily than having it, because I don't know that much. I cannot tell for certain how much I'm actually going to like it. So Yours from the Tower is now on -14. Sorry, this is a very long and drawn out process. Okay, question 4 for the book grill. Do I need it if it did not tick any of 2's boxes? So if it wasn't about supporting an author, collecting the series, thinking the book's really pretty, it's a bargain, I want it for my collection, or it being a limited edition, would I still get it? The answer is yes. If it wasn't ticking any of those boxes, would I still want that book? And the answer is still yes. Then that would be a +5. And I've answered this, although it still ticks those. Okay, so I've done this incorrectly. So the Snow Girl, if it didn't tick any of those boxes in Why I Would Desire It, would I still want to read it? Yes, absolutely, for the Snow Girl. So I've written that incorrectly. So Snow Girl is now on a +5. Oh no, I did put yes. I can't read my own system. Yeah, so Snow Girl was on -5. Snow Girl gets another 5 points for answering yes to this question. So Snow Girl is now on 0 points. So it's broken even. It's now balanced. Yours from the Tower. Not necessarily. Although I am intrigued by the premise, and the premise sounds really cool. It's a combination of the premise and the title that makes me think this would be nice to have. So that's on -14. Will it be a potential reread again and again and again? Am I gonna love it? Is it gonna be a fave, like these books, that I'm just gonna love and want to read a reread? Sophie Anderson's The Snow Girl, yes, I think it will be. I feel very safe feeling like that because I've read from her before and love her books. So I'm very happy to give her the +10 points for that one. So that means The Snow Girl is on 10 points. Yours from the Tower, I don't know, because I don't know if I'm going to like it or not right now. I don't have enough to go off from that. So no points for that one, which means yours from the tower finishes on -14. So the Snow Girl on 10, yours from the tower on -14. I think it's very clear I want to own the Snow Girl, but I do not need to own yours from the tower. So from going through that, like I said, even though it wasn't perfect, what I've kind of got from doing that is I really love Sophie Anderson, and I feel very confident that I will love the Snow Girl, hence me choosing that book. With yours from the tower, I think it sounds interesting. The cover is very pretty. If I love it, it will be really satisfying on my shelf. But if not, it was not the best book for me to have on my shelf. So I feel very much more this should be an e-read or borrowed from the library for me. So it does help me really pin down what I want to be reading. So that's the book grill. Cool. I'm now going to talk about my pre-order books that I'm excited about. So I've got my 10, I've chosen my 10. I have a whole list of books I'm excited about. There's some I'm still excited about and want to tell you, but I have managed to resist them. So let's work out how I'm doing this. Okay, I'm going to try and do it by publication. Yeah, by when I'm expecting them to be published. So January, there's a book, and I just got so excited again whilst looking it up, but it is a wild card. And this is The Principle of Moments. I can't read if I've written down movements or moments. It's in the description box, so please do check it and the link for the book. The Principle of Movements or Moments by Esme Jinkemi Pearson. This is a science fantasy book that is due out in January, debut author, and it's tagged as a grand space opera. Order is the architect and time is the tyrant. And the premise, just reading the premise again, I was like, oh, this sounds so good. I really want to own it. It just sounds really awesome. I want to read more science fiction. Science fantasy sounds so much fun. This book has time travel in it. It just sounds really cool. So it's 6066, and we have a character called Asher who is basically kind of working as a labourer in this very kind of like suppressed society. They are under the thrall of the Emperor, and they've got to just do the work they've been done. And they are treated very much as second-class citizens because of like stuff that happened in the past. But Asher is trying to study magic scrolls or something like that by night, and then receives a mysterious message. We then have, in 1812, Obi, who is in Regency London, and he is a time traveller, and he's starting to get fed up with lots of different things, like what happened to his dad, if the prince he's in love with will ever love him back, and he feels like very kind of disheartened by everything until he hears about the ghost of a girl in the British Museum. And somehow Asher and Obi's paths cross, and they are kind of going on a quest to break a prophecy that's already started to set in motion. And it just sounds like there's so much in this book. It sounds like a lot. It sounds amazing. I'm really excited about it, but I'm not pre-ordering it because of being really good. But I wanted to tell you about it because I think it sounds amazing. I would love to get this out from the library. I'd love to read it. I really want to read it. It sounds awesome. Also, I really like the look of the cover. It's got a sunset kind of colour palette on the front, and it's got like who I presume is Asher and Obi kind of like standing one in front, one behind, and it just looks really cool. The cover looks awesome. Okay, let's move along. So one I have pre-ordered is a re-release of Solitaire by Alice Oseman. I love Alice Oseman. I have read her books before. So she is most well known for the Heartstopper graphic series. I love Heartstopper. I have reread Heartstopper. I own most of the Heartstopper series. I loved Loveless. I thought that was absolutely fantastic, and I want to read the rest of her books, but I have been holding off because I want to own them, and I was hoping about maybe getting her whole collection in like a box set, but they're bringing out Solitaire. Now, usually her books have got like a colour and then kind of like an outline done in like just like black and white, and it does look quite cool. But this is being released as a hardback with like a painted image like we've got here of Alice's art, and then it's got fiery sprayed edges. And I feel very, very confident that because this is an author I love, I absolutely love her work, I love her way of depicting healthy relationships, I love her character work, I feel I want a beautiful copy of this book. And this is the first book that she released. Solitaire is about Nick and about Charlie's older sister, Tori. She's called Tori, isn't she? She's called Tori. And I always like his sister. She's like appears out of nowhere, and she has really kind of cool big sister vibes. So I'm really keen to hear her story, and I think it's just going to be beautifully matching the love I feel I'll have for that book. So that was quite an easy decision to make. So that is pre-order number 1. One that I'm really excited for that I'm not pre-ordering because I have to make these choices. And again, I started reading it and I'm excited about it. And this is a middle grade fantasy called Paper Dragons, The Fight for the Hidden Realm. I think it's a new trilogy. It's a debut author, Siobhan McDermott, who is from Hong Kong. And it has an underwater realm, disappearing apprentices, and Chinese folklore, all of which sound brilliant. There's a village above the cloud sea. Again, I love that sentence. And Zijin is chosen to become a silhouette. This sounds wonderfully whimsy and gorgeous and wonderful. So I really want to read this book as well. So that's the January lot. Moving on to February. I have 2 YA fantasy novels that I'm very excited about. One is Infinity Alchemist by Case and Calendar. And I'm excited because I love Case and Calendar's Felix Ever After. I really want to keep reading Case and Calendar's backlist. I have read a contemporary romance by them. And I have middle grade books under my bed that I'm really excited to get to, but they're very, very summary. I haven't picked them up yet. I would love it because it's YA fantasy. If this was one of the Fairyloot books we got this year, that would be amazing. If the February Fairyloot box could be the Infinity Alchemist, that would make me very, very happy. Fingers crossed. But if not, I'm reminding myself there's nothing wrong with a paperback. Nothing wrong with a paperback. This is a paperback, so Infinity Alchemist could easily be a paperback. I don't need to own it because I've got other Case and Calendar books I haven't read yet under my bed. So I'm going to hold off. I'm going to be strong. The second book I'm really interested in is A Tempest of Tea by Hafsa Faisal, I think. Sorry. Hafsa Faisal. And she wrote We Hunt the Flame, which is a book that caught my eye before that I was very excited about. Never got around to reading it. And so I haven't read anything by her, but A Tempest of Tea sounds amazing. I mean, one, it has the word tea in it. The other things in it is it's like a secret society, there's a heist, there's vampires. It sounds really cool, just the premise of it all. It sounds really, really good. Again, it would be lovely if Fairyloot were going to put this in one of their book boxes. Hint, 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 hint. The Waterstone cover looks gorgeous. I love the kind of the silhouette of this. I think it's been described as kind of like Peaky Blinders-esque, but with Asian mythology and vampires. So I just the weird blend of all of that I'm excited for. So there's a character in kind of like a Peaky Blinders style cap and kind of the old-fashioned end of Victorian, early 19th century kind of clothing with waistcoats, holding a cup of tea, and we've got this beautiful like purpley, bluey, pinky swirl kind of behind it, and then on the edges, the sprayed edges, it's black, and then it's got this curl of like tea steam done in the purpley, bluey, pinky colours, which looks beautiful. But I'm gonna hold off because I can't get everything, and I haven't read from this from before, so it feels more like a wild card to me. So I'm gonna back off. I want to support both these authors, but that's not enough of a reason for me to be buying the book. So I'm going to be good. March. March, there are 2 books, and both of these are on my pre-order list. So first of all, we have the 3rd book in the Onyeka series. So this is middle grade fantasy superheroes. So this one is called Onyeka and the Heroes of Dawn. I'm very keen to see what happens next for Onyeka and her friends. I love these books a lot, so this is a very easy kind of continuation for me. I want to keep supporting Tolo Okaguru, and I've had a great time with both the Onyeka books, so I want to keep it's part of the series. I want to keep collecting it. I'm excited for it, so yes, definitely going to be pre-ordering that one. So that's book number 2 on the pre-order list. Number 3 is another beloved author, and that is Catherine Arden. I love the Winter Night trilogy. The first book being The Bear and the Nightingale. This was so beautifully researched. The atmosphere in here, the way the plot was done, the character arcs, her writing, it was so gorgeous. Catherine Arden has recently written a load of middle grade horror novels, which I may pick up at some point, but horror is not my genre, so I was holding back from them. And they're not that easy to get hold of either. But she has a new adult book coming out called The Warm Hands of Ghosts. And again, Waterstone are doing this book justice with hardback, end pages, sprayed edges. It looks gorgeous and everything that Catherine Arden's books should deserve. I feel incredibly confident that I'm going to love it because I love her writing. I'm very intrigued by the premise. It's not Slavic this time. It is set in World War I, I believe. And we've kind of had a supernatural element. We've got a brother and sister kind of link. We've got it sounds like it's going to have that kind of and like mysteriousness, suspense. I'm just very excited about it. It just sounds brilliant, and it's Catherine Arden. So yes, of course I'm pre-ordering that one. Okay, moving on to April. And there are 2 more books that I'm very, very excited about as well. Yes, and again, both of these are on my pre-order list. So first of all, we have a prequel to A Kind of Spark by Elle McNichols. We have Keedie being released. Keedie being our protagonist Addie's older sister. So we're going to get Keedie's story. I loved A Kind of Spark. It was incredible. One of my favourite books of the year. Cannot wait for Keedie. I have to get hold of Keedie. I'm so excited about it already. I want all of Elle McNichols' work. So yes, Keedie is not going to match. It's going to, the cover is the UK cover. This is the US cover. I just really love this cover. But Keedie's is not going to match, and that's going to be totally fine. I just want the book. The second book coming out in April, again, another author that I really, really love. It's P. Djeli Clark. P. Djeli Clark has a new novel, not novella, The Dead Cat-Tail Assassins. First of all, the title sounds fantastic. You could just give me that title and the author's name, and I'm like, I don't need to know anymore. That's me done. I'm quite happy with that. But again, we've got another kind of like secretive society, assassins. I'm very keen to see. I've not read outside of the Dead Djinn universe, so I'm very keen to see what world we're going to get with this one. I love P. Djeli Clark's characters. I love the kind of the worlds that he creates. So I'm very excited to read another book by him. I'm very confident I'm going to love it, so I'm very happy about that one. Yes, that was April. Okay, May. Do we have? Yep, so I've got that one for May, and I think just that one. Okay, yeah, so 2 for May that I'm interested in. The first one, so I'm going to go back to Holding Up Legends and Lattes. There are a couple of books on this list now. where it's done this wonderful thing. What I love is when there is a really popular book out that people didn't expect to be popular, and then suddenly everyone is loving it. And publishers go, oh, this genre is popular. We must publish more books in this genre. So all these other books that didn't get attention before, they're suddenly given all this attention. Like it happened with fantasy when we had a very popular fantasy book out. It happened with paranormal fantasy when we had a very exciting, popular paranormal series that came out. Suddenly publishers were like, oh, this book sells. Here's more. So thanks to the popularity of Legends and Lattes, we're getting quite a lot more low stakes, high fantasy, cozy books involving teas and bookshops. So this sounds delightful. So there were two I am interested in, but again, it's kind of wildcardy for me because I don't know enough about them. I'm intrigued by the premise, but it might not live up to expectation. So one of these is being re-released in May. So this is Can't Spell Treason Without Tea by Rebecca Thome. This isn't a debut. She's written lots of other books. She sort of specialises in lots of fantasy, paranormal, mystery and sapphic stories. So there's a sapphic relationship in this one. We have two characters who were kind of very like high up in the fantasy world and involved in kind of all the politics and things going on, and they just wanted to stop that life, so they've kind of disappeared, left it all behind, and have kind of like gone to live their dream together. I think they start off as friends, but then there's like a slow burn romance developing between them, but their past kind of comes back to try and catch up with them. So it's a lot more of a bigger novel, so I think it's kind of a overarching plot that's kind of like quite episodic. It's the kind of the impression that I get from it, but I don't completely know. This was originally published over a year ago. It was originally published autumn 2022. But obviously with the rise of Legend and Lattes, it's being re-released. Now, I liked the original cover. It had this kind of like beautiful painting of two women sitting in armchairs and then this bookshop kind of in the background, and you were sort of at an aerial viewpoint. I thought that looked really lovely. But Waterstones are doing, so I think the US version is still going with that cover, but I think the UK has got a new cover. I think Waterstone is really going with pushing this book. It's got red with like white symbolic pictures. So there's a little house, there's like some dragons, there's a cup of tea, and then it's got red sprayed edges with white dragons down the side. So yes, it's trying to work its magic on me, but I will be strong and resist. This is kind of one of those where I'd love to be able to have an arc of this to go, yes, I really like this book, give me the beautiful copy. But we're going to hold off. So this is the first book in the Tombs and Tea series. So this is being released in May, but in October, the second book, A Pirate's Life for Tea, is going to be released as well. So I imagine it's also going to have this beautiful cover and kind of match. It's going to look very lovely. So book collectors out there are going to be very excited, especially if you loved Legends and Lattes. The book, but it's not on my list because, again, I don't know. It's a bit of a wild card. So I'm going to hold off. But the book that is not a wild card for me, where are my piles of books? Another middle grade. Abby Elphinstone has a new fantasy series coming out. Abby Elphinstone wrote Rumblestar, The Unmapped Chronicles. I loved this series of books. It was so full of heart. It was so classic middle grade whimsy fantasy. It was amazing. So yes, Abby Elphinstone. I wasn't so excited by Saving Neverland just because I didn't really want to revisit a kind of a Peter Pan thing. But Abby Elphinstone's own world that she's created, her own new fantasy series, yes please, I really want to be part of that. So she has Ember Spark and the Thunder of Dragons coming out in May. The cover also looks beautiful. It's purple, it's got a golden dragon on, it's got a redhead girl sat on the back of this kind of serpentine dragon. Cozy whimsy, middle grade fantasy. It's going to be wonderful. I feel very confident about that. So what's that on my list? Is that number 6? I think that's number 6. Okay, June. I haven't got anything written down. But July, I have 5 books, so that's why there's nothing in June, because they're all coming at me in July. So July, first of all, possibly, it's already been pushed back twice. We should have the 3rd Amari book. So I love Amari and the Night Brothers. I loved Amari and the Great Game. They're both middle grade fantasies by B.B. Alston. They're wonderful. The character, the whimsy, the plot, so exciting. Currently, do not have a working title. It is just down as Amari 3. So that makes me worried that it might not be July and could be pushed back even more. And I'm trying to be okay with it because I want B.B. Alston to write the best book he possibly can, but we will see. But definitely pre-ordering it. So there's another middle grade coming out in July that I'm really excited for, and that is Jamie Littler's new series. We have Arkspire 2. So I love the Frostheart series by Jamie Littler. It, again, absolutely full of heart. You fall in love with these characters. It's an amazing whimsical world. The plot was really good that kind of went through all 3 of the books. So I am very confident that I will continue to love Arkspire. That I will love Arkspire. I can't say continue to love because I haven't read the first one yet. It is still under my bed waiting to be earned. But I know, I feel very confident that I'm going to love that series. I think the premise of Arkspire sounds amazing. I love kind of the world that has been set up. It sounds awesome. So I feel very confident about that. So that is Arkspire and the Order of the Misfits. What else have we got coming out in July? Oh yes, so another book series that I really love and an author that I really love is Juno Dawson. So Juno Dawson has released Her Majesty's Royal Coven and the Shadow Cabinet. We are getting a prequel in July, which is called Queen Bee. So we knew in these that the Her Majesty's Royal Coven was the Coven of Witches that was set up by Anne Boleyn. So we're going to be getting the story of Anne Boleyn, and I cannot wait to see what Juno Dawson is going to do with it. She is so witty in her books. She's so funny. I've just really enjoyed so much, and utter chaos. It's such muddy, messy chaos, and sometimes that doesn't work for me, but with Juno Dawson I absolutely love it. So I'm really, really excited for Queen Bee and to see what's going to happen. And then the following year we're going to get the final book in Her Majesty's Royal Coven series. Juno Dawson, I believe in you. I believe you can land the plane. I believe it's going to be amazing. Do what you need to do. How many more books am I going to talk about in July? Two more books. Okay, so the second of the low stakes high fantasy cozy books that Legends and Latte's popularity has encouraged publishers to be publishing more of is called The Spellshop. So coming out in July is The Spellshop. This is by Sarah Beth Durst. I have yet to read a Sarah Beth Durst book, but there are so many on my wish list of books that I want to read. She's definitely an author that I'm really excited to get to. I've heard brilliant things about her. The premise of some of her other books sound fantastic. This sounds like a very different thing for her, although maybe not, because she has also written middle grade books too. But this is sold as cozy cottagecore fantasy, a low stakes market of illegal spell selling. So we have Kayla and her assistant, and her assistant is called Kaz, a sentient spider plant. So already this book has made me really excited, because one of the things that I really love is inanimate objects that are then sentient. So having a sentient plant just makes me really happy. So both Kayla and Kaz leave the city where they've been involved in a lot of stuff in this magical library, and they are lying low in a small island that has got a very kind of small village community that they've got to try and become part of. So this sounds brilliant. I really love the sound of it. But again, I've not read a Sarah Beth Durst, so it's more of a wild card, so I'm holding back. So this is not on my list of high possibilities. But if I and it's one I feel my library's not gonna get hold of. But like I said, if I'm still interested in a few years, there's nothing wrong with paperbacks, so that's all good. But I think it sounds brilliant. So if you are a Legends and Lattes fan and are looking for more of the same vibes, then maybe checking out the Spellshop is going to be a good fit for you. So the final one in July is another author that I really, really love, and myself and Bridget, who I chat with on Discord, have been constantly checking to see when this next book by Jen Lyons is coming out. So in July, we are going to have The Sky on Fire. It is a new book. It is a standalone, which is going to be interesting, by Jen Lyons. But I absolutely loved the Chorus of Dragons series. It was insane. It was such an insane plot. There was so much going on, but she knew exactly what she was doing. All of those pieces came together so well, but there was so much messiness. The characters were amazing. And if you love snarkasm, then you will love Jen Lyons, because it's full of snarkastic chaos. That was my selling point words for this book. It's just, the characters were so the barbedness that witticisms that they spoke to each other, it was crazy, but such a delight. The dialogue in those books was amazing, so I cannot wait to see what Jen Lyons has. So again, I feel very, very confident I'm going to love this book because I loved her other series, and I feel that it's something that she's taken her time with. Like, we haven't, when did Discord of Gods come out? I think that was 2022, so it's been a while for her to kind of like get this up to perfecting. So I feel very happy that she's going to have done a brilliant job with this one. Okay, August, I just have one, and it's a paperback. So this is The Will of the Many by James Islington, or Islington, however you want to pronounce it. The Will of the Many was on my radar this year, and I held back from it, but I'm very keen. I hear such amazing things about it. So many people have really loved The Will of the Many, so that makes me feel very happy. I loved the Alchemist trilogy. I really, really enjoyed James Islington's plotting. I thought he did an amazing job of incorporating all the parts of the story and lying all these little things for you to be then referring back to in different books, which I love so much. It was just, the first book I really enjoyed, but the second and the third I loved. Like, the plotting was just masterful. So I'm very excited to read more from him. It has been a while. So this is the paperback coming out, and I will, at some point, I will own this book. It is definitely a book that I want on my shelves just because of how much I love the Alchemist trilogy. So I feel very confident I'm going to love this one as well. But I don't know if it's going to be its time yet or not, just because I'm very hyped for kind of a lot of things coming out. September, I think this is then the last one. I haven't got anything else I'm excited for beyond this, as far as I know. So September, it's a middle grade book that I'm very keen to read, and it is Hamra and the Jungle of Memories by Hannah Alkath. This is one of the books that was on the shortlist for the middle grade reader's choice. If you're not sure what that is, I should link a video here. And this was one of the ones that I voted for because I was really, really excited about it. So it was released in 2023 in the US, but not in the UK. So we're only just getting it now. So I would love to support this author and show love for this book, but there's so many other books I'm really excited about, so I don't know if I'm going to do this one or hold off on this one. I haven't quite decided yet, but I really do want to read this book. I heard brilliant things about another book that Hannah Alkath read from Tiffany from Towering TBR, and she has not been wrong about many books that I have loved, that she has loved as well. So I feel very confident that I will enjoy this author. And I did have this book down on my Storygraph wish list before I heard Tiffany talking about how much she loved The Girl and the Ghost. I then looked it up and I was like, oh, I've already got this down. So I was already excited by this premise. So I feel that kind of like doubly indicates I might like it, but it is still a wild card. I still don't know if I will for certain. I feel more confident than say I am for any of the for example, the Can't Spell Treason Without Tea one, just because I know Tiffany really liked a previous book that she did, so we will see. But the other book that is due out in September that I have already pre-ordered, because I've had it on pre-order for 2 years, is the fourth book in the Nevermore series by Jessica Townsend. Silverborn has been pushed back for 2 years. We have a date that Silverborn is going to be released this September, but it's almost like, because it's been pushed back so much, I almost feel like I'm not going to believe it until I physically have the book in my hands. So I'm so excited. This is one of my most excited series. Like, I did a video about my top 10 most anticipated sequels, and this was my number 1 book. Spoilers if you haven't seen the video and wanted to, but this was the one I was most excited about. It even beat out the Stormlight Archive. That's how excited I am about this middle grade series. Again, love the world, the character arcs. I have such emotional connections to these characters. I don't know where this is going to go. A lot of stuff is all kind of coming together. More and more is being revealed, and it seems to just keep getting better and better and more exciting the more we dive into this world. So I have high hopes for Silverborn. I am aware the author, I think, has been quite ill, possibly, which is why it's been pushed back. So as much as I'm like, I really want the book, I do also want Jessica Townsend to be able to write the book that she's really proud of and wants to write. I want her to be able to do it justice. I would rather wait a bit longer and have the book done to its best than get it sooner and be disappointed in it. But obviously I hope Jessica Townsend is recovering and is in a much better place. I don't know what happened. I just know that she there was an illness. But yes, I'm very excited for Silverborn. I really hope we get it. Fingers crossed. And that is the end of my anticipated list. So this video has been so much longer than I wanted it to be. I was hoping it would be half an hour, but it has not been because I have waffled on. But yes, I'm pleased with how I'm doing with the Read What You Own challenge. Obviously, I wish I was a little bit further on, but that doesn't matter. I've been enjoying what I've been reading. And I am enjoying getting to the other books that I have pulled out, so that will be very exciting. And yeah, I thought it would be fun to kind of share my my plans for the year and my new book buying goals to make sure I'm prioritizing what I'm buying, because yes, shelf space is lacking, so I need to be more considerate of what's making it onto the shelves. I really hope my library has got these books so I can access them. We will see. Anyway, enough waffling from me. I hope you are reading something really fun and you are enjoying yourself and reading things that are good. And let me know if you've heard of any of these books, if you are excited about them, or if there are other books that you're really looking forward to. What your plans are in terms of book buying, how you're doing with Read What You Own challenge, if you are taking part in that. You know I love a chat. Happy reading, everyone.